in the All-Star game wearing "Pay Us What You Owe Us" t-shirts. WNBA players whose salaries are subsidized by the NBA wear t-shirts declaring "Pay us what you owe us."
Caitlin Clark, the biggest star the WNBA has ever seen, just got tied to a rumor that left fans speechless. A $5 million deal from Europe. Yes, you heard that right. A rookie in the WNBA who sells out arenas everywhere she goes, now linked to a life-changing offer overseas. And fans think they know exactly why, because the league she's carried on her back refuses to give her the respect she deserves. In this video, we're breaking down everything you need to know, from the shocking Europe deal that has everyone talking, to the long list of ways Clark has been disrespected in the WNBA. We'll dive into Sophie Cunningham's bombshell comments that fueled this fire, the business and money behind Clark's stardom, the massive fan backlash online, and what leaving would actually mean for the future of the league. But let's start with the moment that lit the spark.
They must have thought this was a great idea. Oh, folks, we're really going to stick it to the owners. We are really going to stick it to the league. We're going to walk out in solidarity with a t-shirt that says "Pay us what you owe us," and then they'll have no choice but to pay us what they owe us. Now, my question is, what exactly?
The story blew up after reports began circulating that European clubs were ready to drop $5 million on Caitlin Clark if she walked away from the WNBA. To put that into perspective, Clark's rookie salary in the WNBA is around $76,000. The gap is so enormous it doesn't even sound real, and that's why fans instantly latched onto the possibility. Could Clark really say no to life-changing money while being battered and disrespected in a league that doesn't protect her? And the more fans talked, the more the rumor began to feel possible. Clark's name is already global. Her jersey sales rival NBA rookies, and her face sells tickets in every city. Overseas leagues know she's worth every penny, not just as a player, but as an international brand. But as fans pointed out, the money wasn't the only reason she might consider leaving. From the very start of her WNBA career, Clark has been at the center of unnecessary drama. She's taken hard fouls game after game, with very little protection from referees. Commentators nitpick her every move. Rival players seem more interested in sending a message than appreciating the fact that she's lifting the entire league's profile. To many fans, it feels like Clark has been targeted simply for being too successful too fast. And that's where the frustration kicks in. Clark didn't just bring her talent to the WNBA, she brought millions of new eyes, ticket buyers, and sponsorships. Yet instead of celebrating her impact, the league has let her become a punching bag both on and off the court. Fans argue that if she's going to face that kind of treatment, then maybe Europe really is the better option. And then came the comment that set social media on fire. When Phoenix Mercury guard Sophie Cunningham opened her mouth, nobody expected what she was about to reveal. Cunningham hinted that the WNBA puts pressure on players to hide injuries and keep pushing, even when it could be damaging. She also suggested that the culture within the league has become toxic, with younger players feeling like they're under a microscope from the second they arrive. Fans immediately connected this to Clark, who has been taking hit after hit without much concern from the league office. The timing was too perfect. Clark's rumored frustration, the disrespect narrative, and now a veteran player basically saying the quiet part out loud. Suddenly, people weren't just speculating about Clark leaving for money, they believed she might leave to protect herself, both physically and mentally. And that's when attention shifted to the business side of the game. The truth is, the WNBA has always struggled financially. Even with Caitlin Clark's arrival boosting ratings and ticket sales, the average player salary is still a fraction of what they could make overseas. Europe and Asia have a long history of paying women basketball stars big money. Diana Taurasi once made over $1 million in Russia, more than 10 times her WNBA salary. So when fans heard Clark could get $5 million, they immediately knew it wasn't impossible. And here's where the disrespect hits even harder. Clark is the single biggest reason for the WNBA's sudden spike in relevance. Games featuring her team, the Indiana Fever, sell out. Merchandise with her name flies off the shelves. Sponsors want her front and center. And yet her paycheck doesn't reflect any of it. Fans argue that Europe sees her worth while the WNBA still doesn't. That realization triggered a social media firestorm. Once the Europe rumor started trending, fans went nuclear on Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. Posts like "If Caitlin leaves, the WNBA dies" started going viral. Others pointed out the hypocrisy. Angel Reese gets endless headlines despite shaky performances, while Clark delivers night after night and gets hammered with criticism. The divide was clear. Clark fans wanted justice, while Reese supporters acted like Clark leaving would be no big deal. But the numbers told a different story. Every metric from attendance to TV ratings showed that Clark is the draw. Without her, the league would slip right back into irrelevance. and fans knew it. That's why the idea of Clark walking away felt less like a rumor and more like a warning. And it raised the question, what would leaving actually mean? If Caitlin Clark were to take the $5 million deal, the WNBA would face a crisis unlike anything it's seen before. Sponsors who signed up for Clark's rookie year might vanish. TV networks would be less interested in broadcasting games. Fans who came to arenas for the first time because of Clark could easily lose interest. The league has never had a star of her magnitude, and losing her would send the message that it can't hold on to its biggest talents. Analysts have already warned that Clark is irreplaceable. Angel Reese might have her social media moments, but she doesn't fill seats the way Clark does. If the WNBA can't figure out a way to keep its brightest star happy, it risks undoing years of progress in one offseason. And that's when fans began looking at something people don't often talk about: what life is like overseas for stars like Caitlin. In Europe, women's basketball players are treated like superstars. They travel in comfort, play in front of passionate crowds, and in many cases live better than they do in the WNBA. There's no rookie hazing, no endless debates about whether they deserve the spotlight. Instead, they're valued for their talent and what they bring to the game. For someone like Caitlin Clark, who's been constantly attacked in her rookie year, that could be extremely tempting. And that's what fans pointed out. In Europe, Clark wouldn't just be another player, she'd be the star. She'd have the money, the respect, and the freedom to just play basketball without all the extra drama. It painted a picture of an alternative reality, one where Clark could escape the negativity and finally be appreciated. Which brings us to the biggest question of all: what happens now? So what's next for Caitlin Clark? That's the question everyone is asking. Some fans believe she's using the Europe deal rumors as leverage to force the WNBA to finally give her the respect and protection she deserves. Others think she's seriously considering it, especially if the culture in the league doesn't change fast. Either way, the league is on notice. Caitlin Clark holds all the power right now. And that's the wild part: this isn't just about one player's decision. This could be the moment that changes the WNBA forever. If Clark walks away, the league could crumble. If she stays, she could force changes that reshape how the league treats its stars. Either way, fans are left asking the same question: is Caitlin Clark about to save the WNBA or leave it behind? Caitlin Clark's rumored $5 million Europe deal has shaken the basketball world. Fans see it as more than just money. It's about the constant disrespect, the lack of protection, and the business side that the WNBA refuses to fix. The backlash has been massive, and the speculation isn't slowing down. So here's the question for you: should Caitlin Clark take the $5 million deal overseas, or is she too important for the WNBA to afford losing? Drop your thoughts below, because this story is far from over. Fans quickly did the math. $5 million in Europe isn't just more than Clark's rookie contract. It's nearly 70 times higher. Add in endorsements she could land overseas, and suddenly the numbers start climbing toward NBA-level money. Meanwhile, in the WNBA, Clark has to rely on outside sponsors like Nike and State Farm to even touch six figures. The gap is so embarrassing it's impossible to ignore. This is where the debate heated up. Supporters said she deserves every penny, while critics claimed it was bad for women's basketball if Clark left so soon. But really, fans argued, isn't the real problem that the WNBA can't pay its stars what they're worth? If Europe sees her value instantly, what does it say that the WNBA still does? One reason the disrespect narrative hit so hard is because of the constant forced rivalry with Angel Reese. Instead of celebrating Clark's brilliance, media outlets often pit her against Reese in every storyline. Fans complained that the league was using this drama as a distraction, trying to manufacture a villain for Clark instead of protecting its biggest star. It backfired. Reese has her moments, but Clark is the one fans show up for. By focusing so much on the rivalry, the WNBA let a toxic culture fester, where players target Clark on the court and talking heads dismiss her success. Fans believe this circus only pushes Clark closer to Europe, where she wouldn't be dragged into manufactured feuds every night. Another overlooked angle: health. Clark has been hammered with hard fouls, body checks, and constant physical targeting. Without proper officiating, her risk of injury skyrockets. That's why Sophie Cunningham's comments about hidden injuries hit so deep. Fans suddenly saw Clark as being forced to play through danger in a league that won't protect her. Compare that to Europe, where stars often get treated with superstar whistles and more medical care. For Clark, $5 million isn't just money, it's insurance. It's a chance to protect her body, extend her career, and avoid becoming another story of what could have been. As the rumor spread, fans noticed something: the WNBA's silence. No public defense of Clark, no statement about protecting rookies, no reassurance that the league valued her. Instead, it felt like the league was hoping the storm would pass. That silence was deafening. For Clark's supporters, it was proof that the WNBA doesn't know how to handle its own superstar. For critics, it was a red flag that maybe the league isn't ready for the attention Clark has brought. Either way, fans started wondering, is the WNBA quietly trying to hide the $5 million story because they know how fragile their position really is? Mainstream media only poured gasoline on the fire. Some outlets covered the Europe rumor like it was a betrayal, questioning Clark's loyalty to women's basketball. Others downplayed it, focusing instead on Reese or other league drama. To Clark's fans, this looked like blatant bias, yet another example of her being disrespected in the very league she's elevating. Meanwhile, independent media and fan-run accounts pushed the story hard, making it trend for days. That's when the divide became clear. Corporate media may try to downplay Clark, but fans are the ones keeping her name alive. If Europe offers her respect and visibility while the WNBA and media drag their feet, which side do you think she'll choose? Fans also couldn't help but compare Clark's treatment to NBA stars. Rookie NBA players, even average ones, make millions instantly. They travel in style, get league protection, and are marketed as the face of the future. Clark, she makes a fraction of that while taking more hits than anyone. The double standard is painful to watch. This comparison only strengthens the case for Europe. If the WNBA can't give Clark an NBA-style superstar experience, Europe will. And when fans look at how the NBA protects its investments versus how the WNBA lets Clark get battered, the choice feels obvious. Caitlin Clark's reach isn't just American. She already has international fans who watch Fever games at odd hours, stream highlights, and buy jerseys worldwide. That's why a European deal feels so believable. She wouldn't just play for the money, she'd expand her global brand overnight. For the WNBA, that's terrifying. If Clark builds her empire in Europe, she becomes less dependent on the league entirely. The WNBA needs her more than she needs them, and fans know it. That's why so many say the Europe rumor isn't just possible, it's powerful leverage. Another layer, the WNBA locker room dynamics. Some veterans don't like that Clark instantly became the league's biggest star. They see her endorsements, her media coverage, her fan base, and some feel threatened. That tension has spilled onto the court, with cheap shots and icy post-game comments. But overseas, Clark would likely walk into a locker room that sees her as an asset, not a rival. Fans pointed out that it's not just about money, it's about being in an environment where teammates want you to succeed instead of resenting your spotlight. If Clark actually left, the sponsorship fallout would be massive. Companies like Nike, State Farm, and Gatorade have invested in her as the future of women's basketball. If she takes her talents to Europe, those deals could follow her, leaving the WNBA with nothing. That's why fans say the league is in panic mode behind the scenes. The irony is brutal. Clark brought all this money into the league and now she could take it right back out. For sponsors, it's not about the league, it's about Caitlin Clark herself. And that's the kind of leverage no rookie has ever had before. As social media erupted, fans started making ultimatums of their own. Many said outright, "If Clark leaves, I'm done with the WNBA." Others promised to follow her to Europe, streaming games no matter the time zone. The message was clear, the loyalty is to Clark, not the league. That kind of fan power is rare, and the WNBA knows it. Losing Clark wouldn't just hurt ratings, it would erase entire fan bases that only showed up because of her. That's why this rumor feels less like gossip and more like a ticking time bomb. With every passing day, pressure builds on the WNBA. Protect Clark, pay Clark, or lose Clark. Those are the three options. Fans believe the league has backed itself into a corner by letting the disrespect narrative spiral out of control. And now Clark holds all the cards. League officials may hope the storm blows over, but the truth is, this story only grows stronger with every game she plays. The more she dominates, the more fans ask, why isn't she being treated like the superstar she already is? Finally, fans zoomed out to the bigger picture. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark, it's about women's basketball as a whole. If the WNBA loses its biggest star to Europe, it sets a precedent that the best talent will always leave unless things change. That would crush the league's credibility and send a chilling message to every rookie that follows. For Clark, it's about legacy. Does she stay and fight to change the league from within, or does she take the money and build her empire overseas, forcing the WNBA to wake up the hard way? Either choice rewrites the future of women's basketball.